Good morning. My name is Juch Nam, Executive Director of AMCHAM Korea. Thank you all for joining us today's webinar on the importance of international license and brand story. This is a very interesting topic we'll be discussing today. Behind every successful corporation in the world, there's always a great marketing strategy and branding activity. Not only that, companies are eager to preserve their non-tangible intellectual rights and property as a sustainable revenue source for the future. Enter Thomas Edison. He is not only the father of the incandescent light bulb and the phonograph, but also the father of modern-day branding and innovation. Today you will learn about Edison's branding success and how the Edison Foundation licenses its intellectual property around the world. Many of Edison's inventions are protected by licensing, such as his name, images, quotes, artifacts, notebooks, and even letters. Today we are joined by Mr. John P. Keegan, President and Chair of the Charles Edison Fund and Edison Innovation Foundation, both of which support medical research, science education, historical preservation, and the enhancement of the Thomas Edison legacy. In particular, he created the Thomas Alva Edison licensing program, which has been greatly successful for the past 20 years. John has spent over 55 years as an attorney in the state of New Jersey and New York. He has received a BA from University of Notre Dame, JD from Georgetown Law Center, and an MPA from Harvard University. He also holds an honorary doctoral degree from St. Thomas Aquinas College. In today's webinar, John will provide us his keen insight on Edison's branding success and the family foundation that licenses Edison's intellectual property globally. From Super Bowl advertisements to product packaging, you will get some great ideas on how to make your brand shine in the marketplace. We hope this presentation will be especially beneficial for those who are serving in the marketing, intellectual property, consulting, and business development sectors. Utilizing virtual meetings such as this, providing useful insights to our member companies, is the goal of AMCHAM to continually strive to enhance trade between Korea and the United States. Should you have any questions during the webinar, please be sure to address them in the Q&A function and not on the chat function. Without further ado, I'll hand the mic over to John. Thank you.
Good morning, and welcome to what we would call the Korean webinar, Great Brand Shine Light on a Great Story. But I'd like to say hello to you, annyeonghaseyo. I first arrived in your fair land in 1965 with the United States Army, where I served as a captain with the 2nd Infantry Division and the 122nd Signal Battalion. I stayed there for 13 months in Korea. My second son was born while I was over there. I left here with my lovely bride, pregnant 3 months rather. And we have a special affinity for your country. Since that time, I became chairman of the Edison Foundations, but during my time in Korea, we worked a lot off campus, we would say, or off the base, with a lot of orphanages, one of which was Pakai Orphanage. We were up about 10 miles south of the DMZ. Let me start off by saying, 나는 한국말 조금 합니다. 나는 미국말 잘합니다. I don't speak very well in Korean, but I know a little bit to get by. But the most important thing that I learned when I was in Korea was more about the Korean culture and the Korean people. Very strong, hardworking, innovative, and dedicated to strong goals of freedom, equal justice, and prosperity. And I've often said that if I could take the Korean model today and take it around the world with me, we could help alleviate a lot of the negative human conditions of war and poverty and substandard education throughout the world. So before we start, I say, here's to you, my fellow friends and partners, in achieving what is best for humankind. And I'm very, very happy to be part of the Korean culture and background. Who was Thomas Edison? Another person who was always thinking about what was best for humankind is the person we are here to speak about today, Thomas Edison. He was a dynamic, hardworking, creative, innovative person who saw the needs of society and filled them with solutions he created through technology. In short, Thomas Edison was the person that brought technology to the marketplace. Besides being responsible for the many famous inventions like the light bulb and the phonograph, he also contributed to the business world as we know it today. He created the commercial research and development labs, which are used all over the world. With this lab as his base, he created many industries that drive today's economy. His lifetime accomplishments account today for, listen to these facts, $9 to $12 trillion of the world's $90 trillion economy. That's an incredible feat. There are some people that were in that category, but way, way below him. Like, for example, Jobs, which comes in at about 1 trillion. Many economists attribute the fact that he is responsible for 1 out of every 4 jobs on the planet Earth, resulting from his accomplishments. One thing you may not know that he invented, something you all strive to perfect as well as he did to compete in the marketplace. Something that has the power to put your sales into hyperdrive. What actually brings you all here today to listen in this webinar is modern day branding. A great brand has a great story. Did you know that his first invention was actually a failure? It was meant to electronically record a politician's vote to speed up the voting process and make it more efficient. However, politicians back then, and just like today, do not want their votes tabulated. They like filibustering. No wonder this invention fell flat on its face. But we all know Edison's famous quote, "I have not failed. I have only found 10,000 ways that didn't work." So he took a good look at his invention to see what it was missing. He had found a purpose for the invention that was important to himself personally, but was missing something that was important to his audience. He later said, "I find out what the world needs, then I go ahead and try to invent it." He went on to create the first wide-reaching electric system, which provided more hours of light in the day to the average Joe, the phonograph that would bring entertainment from the stage into the home, and the motion picture camera that would create a whole new industry for people to bond over. All with stories that tapped into people's desires and wanted to spend money on to improve their lives. He learned quickly that inventions do not stand alone. They need branding to make them profitable and successful products. Just think about some of the most successful products today. For example, the iPhone. Apple is one of the most recognizable brands in the world, not without reason. They do not market a phone, however. They market more intangible things, such as a convenient lifestyle. Sorry, somebody called me on my iPhone. Perfect timing. And they market a phone, they market more intangible things, a convenient lifestyle, a feeling of community, a manifestation of creativity in daily lives, an attainable luxury. In other words, it's something outside of the physical presence of the product or processes that's important. And that's where you have to look into your own products or processes. Sorry about all of that. These phones keep going all the time. Thomas Edison's brand, that's exactly what Edison did with his brand. Before there was the minimal bitten Apple symbol that represents great quality products, there was Thomas Edison's signature. He actually had a specific room in his lab called the branding room. And in this room, he took pictures next to every product and signed them with his seal of approval that represented many of the same things that Apple does today: trust and innovation. He became so successful at promoting his brand In fact, he began to ward off unauthorized use of his brand and even went to court to protect its reputation. This is not unlike what we do today at the Edison Foundations. At the Edison Foundations, we license Edison's brand so that his legacy of excellence can live on in brands that mirror his own hard work, innovation, and success. For the past 25 years, we have worked with companies all around the world to bring this seal of approval to their products and processes in new ways through advertisements, product packaging, professional education, books, and more. We use the profits of all of these collaborations in our philanthropic efforts to restore his historical lab, to promote educational programs supporting research and entrepreneurs, and more. Here is a video more about what we do, and see if you cannot picture your product or processes being inserted into the middle of this video.
Yes, Thomas Edison, the father of modern technology, invented the light bulb. But he was so much more than the light bulb guy. He brought technology to the marketplace. Things like the battery, motion picture camera, phonograph, and countless other things we still use today.
I find out what the world needs, then I go ahead and try to invent it.
See, this guy gets it. His visionary and innovative sense is why he was named the man of the millennium. And what Edison brought to the world, he can bring to your brand. The Edison Foundations license his brand to companies and products that are as innovative and as forward-thinking as Edison himself. So whether it's electric cars, medical gadgets, smart home appliances, even chicken sandwiches or t-shirts,
there's a better way to do it. Find it.
when you license Thomas Edison, you're adding a millennium's worth of credibility, making your brand or product instantly synonymous with greatness.
Want to use Thomas Edison in a commercial to promote your new products? We can help with our images and videos. These are just some of the things that we have to offer in our large library. Want to inspire your customers with Edison's own words printed on your product's website, office walls, or packaging? We have a large library of quotes to choose from, some examples of which are on this slide. If you go to the top line, the second quote in, there's a better way to find it. There's a better way to do it, find it. That is his most famous quote. If you go to the line, bottom line in the center, hell, there are no rules here. We're trying to accomplish something. That's another one of my favorites. And go back up to the top third in, opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. All of these quotes, and there's many, and you can find them on our website, have been important to license Edison around the world. And the reason why I've often wondered, and it came to me after 10 years at this position, that they wanted to use a lot of Edison's quotes, because when he died in 1931, he was the most famous person in the world, and many people around the world lowered their lights for at least 1 minute. These quotes he was asked to give were on all aspects of life, and it came from somebody that was revered throughout the world. Now, over the years, we've amassed about 80 trademarks in approximately 100 countries worldwide to protect the Edison name, not only to preserve his own legacy, but to protect its meaning and power for the companies that would like to connect to it as well. In fact, we have 5 trademarks in Korea, and my most favorite is the Edison Innovation Award. We set up these awards, and they're available to license for your company to give to your employees and even some of your competitors or other citizens who you like to honor for creating innovative products or services, especially those who have used innovation to benefit humanity, like Thomas Edison did. The first awards were given to the winners of the Innovator of the Year contest and have continued for over 20 years. Since then, our foundation has sponsored awards in partnerships with organizations such as Intel and many others. Inventors, writers, students, and CEOs alike are always honored to be presented with our unique trophy that bears the name Thomas Edison. Second, man of the millennium, a substantial amount of people worldwide and in their own countries had named the person of the last century or the person of the last decade. But from our research, no one has ever been selected as the person of the last millennium, the past 1,000 years. Time magazine did that about 25 years ago for Thomas Edison. Edison received this not just because he was the world's best innovator or inventor, but because he was a great humanitarian who gave back more to society than he took from it. He did not invent to make money, he made money to invent, so he could improve the qualitative life of people. In fact, next year will be the 25th anniversary of when he received this honor, and we also received the honor as being his family foundation. And to celebrate it, we are going to be partnering with companies all around the world for some special licensing ventures. We welcome your companies to join us to create some one-of-a-kind campaigns that truly represent the Edison style, passion, forward thinking, and distinction that made him the man of the last millennium. For your inspiration, here are examples of other licensing partnerships we have done over the years and what has been made to them to make them so successful in using the power of the Edison branding. Intel, when it was prepared to launch its new computer module to help integrate technological elements in devices cheaper and more efficiently, it sought to name it the Edison to not only bring credibility to the product and also authenticity, but to inspire innovation among the young entrepreneurial customers. There was a small little module that anybody could use and create new products in their own home. The model was designed to help small companies and develop teams to accomplish the same goals as Edison did, which is to make it easy for entrepreneurs to try their new ideas, creating products or processes. The branding placed directly on its new chip with his name and question next to each other created the impression that Edison himself was asking this young entrepreneur, "What will you make today?" Chevy and Mazda came to us. They came to Edison when it wanted to promote its new electric vehicle, the Chevy Volt. Chevy's Super Bowl commercial for the Volt featured great moments in electricity. So the inclusion of Thomas Edison, father of modern electricity, was practically a requirement for this particular advertisement. In the same 30 seconds that Edison turns on his light bulb, the Chevy Volt turns on with battery power. It was a short and powerful ad which provoked the idea of life-changing innovation without any words, just the image of Edison. We also worked with the car company Mazda in its advertising efforts. Although this time it was a print advertisement instead of a commitment and a commercial. His image was just as powerful. To emphasize the advancement of their Sky Active engine technology, Mazda needed a figure who symbolized inventive genius. A blown up image of Edison in his lab paired with his famous quote, "Our greatest weakness is giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to try one more time," was all they really needed to make their audience feel the word conviction that they wanted to use to describe their product. ChickfilA. ChickfilA even licensed Edison's image to promote the innovation of its new breakfast sandwich, a chicken sandwich, showing that a great invention story like Edison can transcend genre lines in marketing. Eating chicken for breakfast? Just as crazy of an idea, yet just as great as the light bulb. Other international examples. If you move on into Japan, did you know that a study of the Japanese population revealed that Edison is the second most revered person in Japan besides the emperor? The population's love for Edison is part of what made these deals so successful. Suntory. We partnered with Suntory, the largest beverage company in Japan, for another fun food and beverage advertisement that went on for about 3 months. They used Edison to advertise some of their products in not only an entertaining way, but brought in a warm, heartful vibe in their ads. Patent Office. Another Japanese partnership we did was when we helped celebrate the Japanese Patent Office. This is a great entrepreneurial patent organization in its 125th anniversary. As the father of 1,096 patents, a world record, he was the clear choice to represent greatness and history of invention for this campaign. Let's move on to Italy. Geronimo Stilton Books, traditionally a fictional series with hundreds of books in Europe and in the United States. This Italian publisher contacted us when it wanted to delve into nonfiction in a series with 3 other historic figures. While Amelia Earhart might inspire bravery in their student audience, Edison was the perfect choice to promote creativity and hard work, and it was a lot of fun too. Korea. We love working with the Korean brands. POSCO. About 10 years ago, we worked with POSCO to help promote their new innovation technology in steelmaking. As you know, they're one of the largest in the world and one of the leaders of the world in steelmaking. And as one of the largest steelmaking companies in the world, it was important to place their product parallel with one of the biggest innovators in the world, Thomas Edison, who incidentally worked often with different materials for his many inventions, including his own line of Edison cement that built the Yankee Stadium in New York City. Raycom, another one of your smaller companies we worked with to promote their MP3 player. And before iPhones, there was the main source of music streaming. Edison actually invented recorded sound when he created the phonograph and owned his own recording studio in his big lab, his invention lab, which brought the history of the recording industry full cycle with the newest technology. Other licensing examples. Going forward, we'd love to work with the similar Korean companies. In recent years, Korean culture has exploded in the United States with the popularity of K-pop, award-winning movies and TV series, and innovators in medicine during COVID. No matter whether you're selling chickens, brand new tech, or trying to help the reputation of your company, we'd love to help shine some of Edison's light on your brands as we have done with these in the past. Has this presentation piqued your interest in Edison? In my recent TED Talks, I discussed everything that I've learned about Edison over the years working for this foundation. Now that you've heard from me about branding and licensing, here are just a few things that we can all learn from Edison and his work, which indirectly and directly are all factors into your branding. Number 1, think outside of the box. Take a path that is least traveled, like Edison. In his Queen Anne desk, where he worked every day, he had a cubbyhole that was labeled New Things, into which he put his new ideas every day. Number 2, take an educated risk. Listen to your advisors. It's not like betting on a horse race. Take their advice, but take a risk. Edison couldn't drive a car. He drove it one day into a ditch, and that was a risk that was not worth taking. 3, failure way to success. Edison once said, I haven't failed 10,000 times. I found 10,000 ways which didn't work. Failure was not in Edison's vocabulary, nor was it in other successful people like Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, to mention only a few. 4, success demands improvement. If you've got a good product, it doesn't end there. You've got to continuously improve it. Others will come along and perfect it for you if you don't. Inventing the first commercial incandescent light bulb wasn't good enough for Edison. He had spent many years improving the filament after that in the light bulb so that it would last longer and not get hot. So don't become risk adverse. Collaboration is the new competition, and this is perhaps the most important part of Edison. Edison knew that a rising tide lifts all boats. He worked with many other leaders of his day, like Henry Ford with the assembly line and Marconi with the radio. In his day, inventors who shared the same space, including Edison and Tesla, also shared best practices and ideas with each other so that they could usher society into the future. 6, think big, but keep it simple. Edison's big idea to add 8 hours of light to our day or develop a grid system so that light became available to everyone with a simple light switch to be used by the public to go on and off to enjoy the fruits of modern electricity was an important process. Very simple, switch on and off. 7, find the best solution. Edison valued common sense, stick-to-itiveness, and perseverance among many things. That was one of the famous quotes that he had that we mentioned earlier, or you saw on the screen. Don't just find a solution. Put extra effort into making it the best solution. 8, keep learning. You're a student for life, in school and beyond. People who are always learning and finding information are more likely to achieve success. Listen to this, because they can change and adapt to a world where old technology no longer exists. Edison is the father of modern technology. Every day the world changes. Every day you have to change with it. And if you don't change with it, you're 2 days behind. And if you have an open mind and you're a student, you can adapt to the changes in technology that occur every day. Always be selling. No idea will sell itself. Edison was constantly selling himself and his inventions to the public, which gave him the edge over most competition. So be persuasive. And if you're not the salesman in your organization, find somebody who can do it for you. Like us, we can tailor your product or processes to your customer base. So in conclusion, I would say that Edison's ability to sell products or processes, brands, and ideas in both his time and in ours is a testament to the power of a good story. As industry grows in the US and in Korea, we realize that licensing is more than simply printing a name or image on a product. It is weaving together stories to create the unique fabric of your brand. It is bringing a long legacy to a new brand or product that has just begun. It is linking a narrative of big dreams and hard work to something your customer can buy. It is using history to inspire the innovation of the future. It is knowing your customer and what they want, as Edison did. If you'd like to learn more about licensing Thomas Edison, you can download our comprehensive brand book on thomasedison.org/brand book. I would like to thank my Korean friends for giving me the chance to once again unite again after 55 years and to visit with them and hopefully to help the economy of the world with new licensing and advertising ventures, both in the United States and in Korea. God bless you and your families. I hope you will all be safe, that the COVID does not create any more havoc in Korea anymore, that we will be able to move forward from that. God bless you. Merry Christmas. And thank you very much for the opportunity. 대단히 감사합니다. And now I will answer any questions. The first question is, have we had any licensing failures? I would say yes, and we've learned from them. Basically, the licensing failures come in a changing world, and that the people that came to us to use the new products for innovation and for licensing, it didn't resonate as a new product, or it didn't resonate as something that was going to be useful for that organization. I would say that on a scale from 0 to 10, although it's tough to quantify, that probably 80 to 85% of the times that people used Edison, it helped their product development. And many times they came back to us or moved on with other people around whom they could base their products. Next question is, besides Korea, what other Asian countries have you worked closely with in terms of licensing? Korea is probably one of the biggest areas for licensing of Edison. It's a technological society, and Edison is the father of modern technology. Edison, as I mentioned before in my speech, is very, very popular in both in Korea as well as in Japan. Edison's gravesite in West Orange, New Jersey, is framed by the Society of Technological Society in Japan, 2 statues for Edison, and he's very popular in Japan. In China, we have, I'll give you a poll that was 10 years ago, was in the New York Times. Edison was recognized as the most recognizable American, even more than Michael Jordan of the basketball fame. And of course, the NBA is very big in China. We have had certain licensing agreements in China as well, but not as many as we've had in Korea, and not as many as we've had in Japan. I'm sorry if I didn't do this the right way. The question is, what are the other other Asian countries that we work with in terms of licensing? We work very closely with the Japanese. As I mentioned before, Edison is very, very revered in Japan because of the fact that he is the father of modern technology, and Japan is a very technological country. Also in China, we have had licensing with China. China did a study, or the New York Times did the study actually 10 years ago, and found that Edison was the most recognizable American. He even beat out Michael Jordan, the NBA star, and you know the NBA is very popular in China. So we've been successful in China as well. So I would say Japan, Korea, and then China. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity again to present Edison to the Korean people. And once again, I hope you have a very safe year ahead of you. And I look forward to returning to Korea in the not too distant future. God bless, and 대단히 감사합니다.